welcome to my channel. I'm JT, and today I'm bringing you a review for Wonder Woman 1984. For those of you who know me, I usually do written reviews or create videos where I'm not showing my face. But at this time I wanted to try something different. I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and create a video that's somewhat like the content you would find on Jeremy John's, Chris Stuckman, or Angry Joe's YouTube channels. So I hope you enjoy. Wonder Woman 1984 was one of those movies that I was going to see no matter what. I thoroughly enjoyed the first movie. I thought Gal Gadot was amazing as Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins did a great job directing. However, when 1984 debuted its first trailer, I initially didn't know what to think. The setting of the 1984 aesthetic was an interesting decision in my opinion, because the first one took place in World War I. It was pretty dark, gritty, grounded. And then in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, Wonder Woman was kind of like skeptical to like help humanity. It took Batman a little while to convince Wonder Woman that Earth is worth fighting for, that humanity is worth saving. And I was hoping that the question about why she kind of disappeared would get answered, among many other things. However, Wonder Woman 1984 goes in a vastly different direction than the original film. It's more comedic, it's more upbeat, it's more campy. It gives you the Christopher Reeve Superman type of vibes. And while that sounds awesome in concept and sounds interesting and unique, it doesn't really work here. And I know it's questionable to compare a film to another film when you're just doing a review, right? But I feel like it's important to know for this one specifically because it is a sequel and a part of a bigger universe, the DCEU. Although it goes for a different take on the superhero genre, or a familiar take, you could say, it doesn't always hit the mark. Actors, they give it their all, and they all give amazing performances, but the material that they're given and the direction that Wonder Woman 1984 goes, it's just not, it has an identity crisis. Right at the start of the film, you get this flashback of Diana Prince in Themyscira as a child competing in this Olympic-type games in the stadium full of people. She is a really strong competitor for a child, and she even comes close to winning. However, she doesn't get the chance to hit the final blow because she cheated. She took kind of a shortcut, and like the lesson learned was that you're not really deserving of a win if you go the easy route and you don't earn it fair and square. It's a valuable lesson to younger audiences. However, it just never gets touched upon again or revisited later on throughout the film. And throughout Wonder Woman 1984, that was like a constant reoccurrence. There were always scenes that were, briefly shown, and they're not necessarily flashbacks, but like nothing carries over from one scene to the next as much as you would like. It's kind of jarring and it doesn't jive. The flow is very odd, and it's clear that the 2.5-hour runtime kind of hurts the movie. Going back to the actors and their performances, Gal Gadot does a fantastic job as Wonder Woman once again. There are some scenes of cringe dialogue and campy moments throughout. It was few and far between, and I think overall she still does a spectacular job. Kristen Wiig as Cheetah was a perfect casting. Her and Pedro Pascal's characters have a good amount of screen time and character development. However, it kind of felt dragged out. Like I said before, the movie itself was 2.5 hours, so there were some scenes that didn't need to be in there. It felt like padding. And although they were developed characters, the conclusion to these characters left a lot to be desired. Without spoiling anything, trust me, it's not a spoiler. The movie might surprise you in its conclusion, but it felt like it didn't deserve the ending that it got. Like, you kind of hoped for more, especially since you spent a lot of time with these people. And And the same kind of goes for Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. Steve Trevor's return was also a big portion of the movie, but there was a lot going on. You have Steve Trevor's return, and then you have the introduction of who Cheetah is and what kind of a person she is and her transformation to Cheetah. And then you have Pedro Pascal's character, who is also, it's also another origin story that is a little bit separate, and then they combine, later on throughout the movie, multiple times for different reasons. There's a lot happening in one film, and it's not the problem of there's too many villains. I mean, honestly, it could be that problem, but it's just, again, the film had an identity crisis. The tones, you didn't really know what it wanted to be. At one point, it's like a comedy, romantic movie between Diana and Steve Trevor. And then at another point in time, it's like the transformation of Cheetah, like why how she starts off as like someone that not a lot of people really like, and then she becomes Miss Popular, and then she becomes ultimately the villain, the antagonist of the story. And then there's also Pedro Pascal's journey of how he starts off at a really low point, and then he gains a lot of power, and then he rivals Gal Gadot, and then he, becomes a part of Cheetah's arc as well. Overall, the action and visuals for Wonder Woman 1984 were really disappointing. And as much as I wanted to love it, and as much as the trailers made it seem like it was going to be pretty badass, it unfortunately wasn't. The harsh reality is the visuals kind of take a downgrade in quality. Whenever Wonder Woman kind of like runs through the air or jumps or lassos somebody through the air, it sometimes speeds up and then goes into slow-mo, but it doesn't look like she's leaping. It looks like she's just kind of like hovering on, not like wires, you don't see any wires, but she's just like hovering, and it doesn't look like she's actually jumping. Or when she's running and her body's moving like really slowly, but like she's moving across like the road like super fast, but her body's like moving slow. Like the motion of it just seems so disjointed. It's very distracting, and it's a departure and a downgrade to the original film, which came out a couple years ago. So that was a little bit disappointing. And with the I keep bringing up the 2.5 hour runtime, but with the 2.5 hour runtime, you would expect more Wonder Woman heroics, more action with Gal Gadot, and it doesn't have that. And the action it does have is a big letdown, to be frank, because it's just the choreography, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like at one point she lassos like a missile, and she uses it to like jump in front of these kids and like move them out of the way. Like it's just like, it's crazy. But and I get it, you have to suspend your disbelief. It is a superhero movie, crazy stuff is bound to happen, but it's just, you expect greatness from these superhero movies. They get better and better each year, and they progressively improve the genre, and you just hope for the best, really. And here it just took a step back. It was just unsatisfying. I wanted more. You expect more. On that front, the action, most of the scenes were shown in the trailer. Not the entirety of each scene, but you got a gist of the showdowns that were going to occur, and then you get a couple of extra ones that you weren't expecting, but for the most part, you were left wanting more. The story itself was convoluted. Like I said before, all the actors did a great job with what they're given. They give memorable performances, but ultimately the script, the tone, the dialogue, the action, the visuals, it fails. It fails the actors, and it leads to an overall lackluster sequel. With a sequel, you kind of expect world building, you expect sequel setup, you hope that the DCEU moves forward with a sequel to one of the main heroes in the team. Unfortunately, Wonder Woman 1984 does not deliver on that idea. So because of all these factors and more that I did not mention, I give Wonder Woman 1984 a 5 out of 10. I do suggest that you watch the film for yourself and share your opinions with me in the comments or on Instagram at JTReviewsPlus. I'm always looking forward to hearing what you guys think about all the films that I review. For more reviews, news, reveals, plus a whole lot more, follow me at JTReviewsPlus on Instagram, Facebook, WordPress, and Twitter. And be sure to subscribe to JT Reviews Plus. Thank you for watching.